Good evening and welcome back to episode number 14 of the intellectual forum, the Happiness Club. And I have one more episode number 15, and then I will take a break in August. Today I have a very interesting topic, very exciting topic, if I might say, and very out of the box topic. I'm going to talk about unlearning because we know about learning, but we never knew about unlearning. So today I have the pleasure to have with me Nivarti Jayaram, and he's the author of the book Unlearning. He is going to unleash all the secrets of a more engaging coaching, and we are going to learn everything we need to learn about coaching in general. Nivarti Jayaram is an expert at enterprise transformation. He's an ICF accredited leadership and career transformation coach, a service veteran, and the UN peacekeeper. He currently works in a European bank, and that is Société Générale. So I'm really so excited to start the episode today and to go through a journey of unlearning. Hello, Nivarti, do you hear me? Hello? Seems you have some technical issue. Hello? It seems you have some technical issue. Just I will try again. Hello, Nivarti, do you hear me? Hi? Hello?
Hi, sorry, I lost the...
So the network is not stable. Hello? Now you hear me? Shall we start?
Yes, I think we can start.
Okay. I can't wait to jumpstart and ask you the first question. Nivarti, you are passionate about people and about helping them enhancing their self-awareness and presence. Please explain more, and in one word, what is coaching?
Okay, let me start with in one word, what is coaching? So for me, coaching is partnering. Means coaching is all about being there.
The voice is not stable. The voice is not stable. Can you remove the virtual background, or it has nothing to do with the voice?
I don't think so, but let me try that.
If you want, you can start and define to us what is coaching.
So coaching for me is about partnering, which means you are partnering with the client to help them to get there where they want to, right? If I have to tell that in one word, it's about partnering. How you together with the client go through that journey of self-discovery and help them understand who they are and understand their goals clearly, where they want to get to and why they want to get there, and go through their journey along with them in helping them get there actually. So that's about coaching. Okay, and I am very passionate about people in the sense that I love working with people, and I'm very passionate about helping people realize their full potential, because I've seen in my journey of over 30 plus years of working with people, not everybody gets to realize their full potential because they don't even understand or spend time to understand what their potential is. We are all caught up in the world of materialism so much. Many times, we are happy with what we are getting, not actually understanding what we can do. There are many people who can move mountains. As you know that, it's not just you and me who can write books. Every individual who has the experience, who has gone through the life, can actually bring some story. Really? But it's just about the focus they have and understanding what they can bring to the world. And working with people helps me actually help them understand their potential and realize it. So that's why I'm very passionate about working with people.
Great. Nivarti, some people are really uncoachable. Is this statement true? some people are really very hard to coach and you cannot coach them. How true is this status or this statement? Sorry, not status.
So if I have to say that, personally, I believe everybody is coachable. Okay, whether I am the right coach for that person may be a question, right? Every individual can be coached by somebody. Coaching is all starts with developing trust, the level of confidence and trust between the coach and the coachee. If we are saying somebody is not coachable, we are actually starting on a wrong premise of judging the coachee itself. And as a coach, we say you should not judge people. So the only thing you can say is probably you are not the best person to coach the person in front of you, right? So you probably advise that person to find another coach whom he can trust and actually develop that relationship and confidence to be coached. That's what my personal belief is. It may be contentious for some people, but that's what I believe.
Yes, I'm saying hi to my lovely live audience on Instagram. And let's go to the next question. Nivarti, please tell us more about agility as a state of mind and how important is transformation as a continuous and an ongoing journey on both personal and organizational level. I'm asking this question, Nivarti, especially during those volatile, uncertain, and ambiguous time and ambiguous world we are living in today.
So I believe, again, this is my personal belief, not many relate to it as well. Agility is something which everybody in life has in certain part of their life. And when we talk about organizations trying to transform and be agile, I believe that people need to be made to understand how they can bring that agility which they have in certain part of life to the context of their work. When I say so, some people are agile in investing in stock markets, right? They are very agile. They can make a lot of money and they know how to understand the volatility of stock market. Somebody may be very agile in real estate, right? Somebody may be very agile in coaching, which means they understand how the coaching world is evolving and they are able to adapt to it. So where they are passionate about, where they have their own personal interests, everybody is agile. So you don't need to teach agile to people. You have to bring that same state of mind where they are agile to the context of work or employment where they are spending most of their time. So that's what I believe, and that's why I say agility is state of mind. And transformation, again, when we talk about any transformation, right, there is no end state for a transformation. You can never say I have transformed. The moment you say I have learned everything, your learning ends, right? That means you are dead. So that's why we say you stop learning only when you die. Otherwise, your learning continues. So similarly, where your transformation continues till you die if you have embarked on a transformation journey, whether you are personal or whether it is professional or it is for organizations. That is why transformation is an ongoing journey which will continue forever once you have started.
Great. To promote sustainability in organizations through culture. And I've discussed this before with Dr. Sanjeev. Please explain more your opinion about sustainability and culture.
Again, sustainability itself is related to us developing capabilities in the organization, which means I, as a leader, if the core focus of delivering certain outcomes or core focus of driving a certain team towards an objective is solely relying on me, then the organization is not sustainable, because tomorrow, if anything happens to me, whether professionally or personally, there is nobody else who can play that role and continue to help the organization to travel on that success path. So if you have to help organizations to sustain, means You as an individual should become dispensable, means your absence should not be felt by the organization. The organization should continue to be successful the way it is today, or probably much better when you are not there. So for me, your success is measured in how your team or your group performs when you are not there, not when you are there. And if it can perform the way when you are there, when you are not there, that is when the organization has achieved sustenance. What this does is it helps us as individuals grow, because until unless I don't bring somebody to be eligible to take my place, I cannot go and ask, okay, I am ready to grow or take up next challenge. Otherwise, I am creating a single point dependency. And that is the culture you have to build at every state in the organization. That's why I say being dispensable is something I promote.
Okay, great. Now I have a question, and I think my live audience on Instagram also are asking and are very curious to know from you. How can we learn to unlearn? Nivarti, we all know that learning, we all know about learning, but how about unlearning? And what exactly do you mean by unlearning? And what shall we unlearn? How can sometimes we can achieve, for example, happiness through unlearning? Unlearning maybe some experience, maybe unlearning some behavior, unlearning some habits that we had. So what is your elaboration on the word, and this is your book title, Unlearning?
Yes, so it's very interesting, and I personally believe in this a lot because I've gone through that experience of unlearning. When you talk about any 4 stages or 4, if you put the learning stages into 4 quadrants, maybe I can share my screen. Can you help me with the permission to share my screen?
Yes, you will send it to me.
No,
I think
you
can share your screen. You don't need to get back, or shall I?
You have to
you
permit
just press
me to
share screen. Just press share screen.
No, it says host disabled participant screen sharing. You just need to give me the permission.
But how I give it? If I press share screen, it will be my screen.
Yeah. If you just go to more, or there will be a arrow by the side of the share screen.
So if I press share screen,
and there will be options whether only host can share the screen or everybody can share the screen.
No.
You have a small arrow by the side of share screen?
A small arrow? No, I don't. I have share, but I share to whom? I have a whiteboard, an iPhone, and I have share.
Okay, you can leave it. I'll talk it through. So when you talk about 4 quadrants,
you can show us your book. You can show us the pages from your book if you have it.
No, I haven't got it yet. It's still in the publication
stage. It's in the printing. Okay.
Yeah. So what I can tell you is, if you talk about 4 quadrants of where you can place learning, right? The first one is when you are trying to learn something new. What is that you don't know which you need to learn, right? That is the first stage. Second option would be, what is that I am doing today which I should continue to do, right? There is something which you don't know, which you have to learn new, and what I am doing already today, which should I continue to do. These 2 quadrants fall into the learning mode. And the third quadrant, if you think about, what is that I am doing today which I should modify so that I can continue to grow in and reach my goal, and that is called relearning, because you are trying to modify something which you already learned. The last point is what I am doing today which I should stop, which is not needed in the new way of working or new world that I am trying to get into, right? If I relate to that being a coach, so when I start my journey to become a coach, I have to go and learn what coaching is all about, correct? So I have to learn, because I don't know what competencies a coach needs to have. That is something new I need to learn. But if I am a good communicator, I am good at developing trust, I will need to continue that capability and competence, right, as part of being a coach. And something to relearn, there could be some elements. I'm a good listener, but I need to modify that level of listening to the next extent. So that means I have to develop that or modify that listening element from today. If I am kind of 30% listener, 70% speaker, to make it reverse, that means I need to modify that. But there are some elements which I need to stop. For example, being judgmental. That means as soon as a coachee comes and sits in front of you, he starts talking. If you start judging, oh, no, this person is not a good guy, he has these characteristics, then you are not actually coaching the person, you are not actively listening to that person, you are not present in the conversation. You are lost in judging that person than trying to understand that person in front of you. So that needs to be unlearned. Or if you are trying to be the best coach, that means you are trying to prove yourself to be the best than trying to work or partner with the coachee. So you should not be self-oriented. You should stop thinking about how I can be the best coach. These are some things which must be unlearned. Means you should stop trying to judge people. You should stop trying to put the focus on yourself, right? These are some elements, and there are a lot of other elements which we need to unlearn based on what aspect of life you are at and what you are looking at. And that's what the book tries to bring about.
Sure. Absolutely. You talked also about the power of habit, as explained by Charles Duhigg. Please explain more. What is the habit loop? And to make it simple for me, let me give a very simple example. For example, if you have certain eating habits, like you eat sugar, for example, how can you unlearn, or you want to decrease your intake of sugar? How can you unlearn that habit if you consider eating sugar is a habit? So I want to break the loop. I want to stop it. How do we do it? And do we do it immediately one time, or we do it gradually? Please explain more. Thank you.
That's an interesting question. So I normally not a sweet guy. So, but yeah, so taking that as a question, right? So Charles Duhigg in his book, Power of Habit, he talks about habit loop, how habits are getting formed. That means there is a cue, means there is a trigger, and there is an action, and there is a reward. That means when you come into a certain situation of day or of a certain circumstance, you will feel the urge to eat sweet, right?
Okay.
So you have to understand what is that driving to, that need for you to eat sweet or sugar. Unless you will not be able to stop. Number one. Number two,
until I know the reason
when you are
why
actually
I eat sugar.
eating sweet, what is the reward you are getting from that particular experience of eating sweet? So it's not actually about eating sweet, it's about you looking to get that experience or feeling that originates from eating that sweet, right? And when you continuously do that, you get into that habit. That means when somebody, if I in a day probably 15-20 teas, means whenever I get into a situation where I am very stressed, automatically my hand would go for a tea, right?
Yeah.
That I used to feel, okay, I am getting de-stressed by drinking tea. Now, if I have to stop drinking tea, first I need to be conscious that, okay, when I get stressed, I try to drink tea. Now I have to find an alternate mechanism which can manage that stress. So you have to understand, if I am eating sugar, is it out of frustration that I eat sugar? What is that driving me to eat sugar, and what I am getting from that? That is where the habit loop needs to be understood. What is the cue? What is the action that happens, and what is the reward that we are seeking? And then only you can try to change that habit. And habits are also a part, apart from behaviors, competence, skills, capabilities, that we have to unlearn. And that's why I brought this topic of how habit loops form. And many times these habits form neural connections, means it forms a neural connection in our brain. And the more times you practice this habit and the more times you are executing it, it becomes very unconscious. Even without you noticing that you are eating sugar, you may be eating sugar when you get into that situation. You are not even conscious about it. And that is where it is very difficult, until unless you are not consciously looking to unlearn, you will not unlearn. And then that means your transformation is not complete enough. You can always fall back onto your old habit whenever that cue kicks into your system. I hope that clarifies the habit loop.
Yes, and we'll continue also to dig more in the topic. So maybe in those tough times, or in the last 4 months, at least for me, we most of us have learned to continuously be available for ourselves. We are available for ourselves, if I might say, all the time. So maybe this is the right time to make that decision or that shift and to unlearn, to acquire awareness of unconscious habit, as you said, and unconscious behavior that we might be doing, but maybe this is the time of clarity. We can see in front of us, yes, this habit, I want to get rid of this habit consciously or unconsciously. So can you help us a little bit or give us a tip about how can we benefit and get the most profit of this period of the quarantine, the last 4 months?
Yes, first thing is to be conscious about what you are looking to unlearn. Means what is that element of your life that you are trying to unlearn? That is the most important aspect.
So
and if you look about all the learning.
No, I'm just saying to be aware, aware or conscious of what you need to unlearn.
Yes, correct. So that is the first point. So that and why we say unlearning is very difficult is because it's an inside out process rather than an outside in. Learning is outside in process, which means when you are trying to learn something, you are looking at people who are doing things certain way and you are trying to learn that. But unlearning is looking internal to yourself and trying to understand what you are doing and stop doing that. That is why it's more difficult to unlearn than to learn. And that is where a high level of awareness is required, or you need a group of people whom you have great confidence in and who will not judge you, for them to go and ask, okay, what are the elements that you think I display or I exhibit in terms of my behaviors or habits, which are not right for me to display. And then you start looking at those elements consciously and try to stop exhibiting those, and first understand. That is where the coaching framework which we have defined in the book, the framework itself is called dreams. Means you try to understand and define what is the element that you want to unlearn and refine it. Try to understand the root cause, what has actually driven to you to develop those habits or behaviors, evaluate them and try to create an action plan. So overall, it is very important either to build your level of awareness or have people around you who can help you to build that awareness if you don't have it.
Great. I want to shift to another dimension, a new question about hard skills and soft skills. What is the difference between hard skills and soft skills? And how can one unlearn and get rid of some of his soft skills while gain other soft skills? Is it a built-in something? Because we used to think that soft skills are already built in, but it seems that now we have the opportunity to get rid of some soft skills that no longer serve us, and we have still the opportunity to gain some more soft skills. I was
Yes,
going to
absolutely.
give you an example. We were once discussing about salespeople and how can they learn new skills. It's new soft skills, I mean, that they don't have. Maybe a person who is very shy can one day be a very extrovert person and can be a very successful salesperson.
Yes, absolutely. I think again, it comes back to the same state. Hard skills are something which you can easily measure and quantify and which are very easily visible. Soft skills are something which are very subtle and brought up, and also the society where we are living and where we are, living our life on day-to-day basis and the people you interact with. Now, if you say that, especially talking about people who are possibly, we call introverts, means who are more on the silent side, and you want them to succeed because they are in a profession. For example, an introvert in a sales, as you pointed out, sales works purely on communication and outward spokenness. You have to sell what you have in hand, right? And if that is a skill that is mandatorily needed for you, firstly, you have to be convinced that you are required to continue and excel in that particular journey or that particular career. If you are convinced, that is the first starting point, that, okay, I as an individual need to be convinced that I want to develop certain skill or change who I am, right? We are talking not about what we do, but we are talking about who I am as a person that I want to change. Are you fully convinced is the first question. If yes, then we have to think about what is stopping me from being outspoken. Again, it comes to the cue or the root cause. There could be a belief system that has been imbibed or integrated, or it may be because of certain experiences at early stage of your life or your career, or you have seen some people in your house probably talking more and they got penalized or they got probably adversely affected, which has built a belief system that I don't want to talk more, right? So you have to identify the root cause which is stopping us from being extroverts or being outspoken. And until unless you don't identify that root cause, you will not be able to change. So first step is to identify the root cause and then be convinced for the change.
Yeah. Yes, what I understood that hard skills are like soft skills. Hard skills are the technical skills you might gain throughout your life, your experience. But soft skills now have the same value. You can still learn them, unlearn them, and get trained to them, or get rid of any old beliefs that is stopping you from gaining that certain soft skills. Nivarti, let me go to the other question. I see that you have put in your book a framework for unlearning. Can you please explain more and elaborate on this process?
Yes. So before we talk about framework for unlearning, we have to talk about the learning human life cycle. How a human learns something new. Right? That is when we understand what unlearning cycle would be. So Professor Sir John Whitmore has written a book called Coaching for Performance. He is known as the father of modern coaching. So in that book, he talks about 4 stages of human learning life cycle. So it starts from 4 steps. Okay, the 4 stages. The first stage is talked about unconscious incompetence. Okay, so unconscious incompetence is something I don't know what I don't know. Suppose if you ask me today about some element, how I would live in Mars, I don't even know about how I would live in Mars. I don't know what I don't know, right? That is the first state. That state we call as unconscious incompetence. And then talks about conscious incompetence. You know what you don't know.
Yes.
And you are looking to learn. You are looking to understand. That is when you try to find out, okay, I even don't know this, right? So the third stage we call as conscious competence. That means when you start learning about something which you don't know and you start practicing it, you start developing competence consciously. And as you continue to practice it over and over again, it goes into your unconscious mind. If I take an example of learning to drive a car, okay, when you start trying to drive a car first time, if it is a geared car, not an automated one, every time you want to change the gear, you will look at the gearbox, you will look at the gear handle, whether it is in second gear, first gear. You are very conscious about building your competence because you are not very comfortable with it, right? After you continue to drive a car for 4 or 5 years, what happens? You don't even look at the gear, you by the speed, by the movement of the hand, gear lever, you are very comfortable without even looking at it that this is the gear the car is in. That means you have moved yourself from not knowing, which is called as conscious incompetence, to unconscious competence, where you don't need to focus on what you are doing, right? That is our learning life cycle. Now, when we talk about behaviors and habits and competencies, which are very strongly built in ourselves, they are all unconscious. We display certain behaviors even without knowing we are, displaying those behaviors, right? That means we are in a state of unconscious competence for those behaviors. Now, if you really have to unlearn those, first you have to move them from unconscious competence to conscious competence, which means I have to be very aware that, okay, I need to stop this. I need to stop judging people. Because first I was judging people, even I was not knowing it. Now I know I judge people. That means I have moved it from unconscious competence to conscious competence. And now I need to stop it. I have to move it from conscious competence to conscious incompetence, right? That means I have to stop it. And only when you continuously do it, it may someday move into your unconscious incompetence. That means you don't even know that you are judging people at some point in time. But it takes a long time to reach there. That is why we call state of doing and state of being. Coaching, which we concentrate in the book, being a coach takes years of time, because to achieve the state of being, you have to be perfect in all competencies. At the same time, you should not be even remembering or be conscious of those elements which are not required to be in you as a coach.
Yes, yes. Your book is very nice, and it is not big, so we can read it in quite a short time. It is like 85 pages, and
Yes.
it is explaining all the stages of unlearning, which are, as you said, the 4 stages of unlearning. And you referred that learning, you even referred that learning is never complete without unlearning. So do you mean here that the capacity of the brain, it has a certain capacity that to learn something new, we need to unlearn maybe something old or something that can contradict with the new learning that we need, or the new skill that we need to acquire?
Yes, absolutely true. It's not about filling. It's more about the second part that you talked about. There will always be certain elements of either our habits or our behaviors or our competencies that we have learned over a period of time. And many could be unconscious because we even don't know we have certain, things that we exhibit. So that is where we need to be very conscious to say that, or believe for learning anything new, it is important we start identifying what is that I have to unlearn as well, so that my learning is fully complete. And that is the theory we want to bring out, from my practice that I have been going through for the last 30 plus years.
Yes. So, so what I understood is that maybe there are sometimes unconscious unlearning, but the best thing is to have a conscious unlearning, right? Am I right? You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I
Yes,
lost the connection.
I'm just brainstorming with you about that sometimes we need to have maybe sometimes we reach a stage where we, for example, we are driving in an autopilot mode because we know how to drive. We've been driving for 20 years, I don't know how many years, and you are put in the car, you are driving in an autopilot mode. You don't need to be 100% conscious, because it is something that is already inhibited in you. So
Yes.
this is the same thing, I think, as learning and unlearning. I'm just trying to get closer to your concept and your idea. Am I right in saying so?
So again, same example if I take, right? So I used to drive a motorcycle without gears. Okay, that means in that the brakes are in your hands, right?
Yeah.
The moment I drove that motorcycle for 6 years, okay, and then I moved on to a new motorcycle with gear. And when you have gear, your brakes are at least the left, the main brake is at your bottom. That means it's at your foot, right? But since I have driven my motorcycle for so long with the brakes in hands, the system, the neural network is hardwired already, that whenever there is a sudden circumstance that comes in front and I have to brake, if I'm not conscious enough, I found that automatically my both hands would apply brake, but the still vehicle will not stop because the brake is in the foot pedal, not in the left handle of the motorcycle, right? That is when I first time got an understanding of that unlearning, process, or unlearning as a concept. So what happened, I got into a few accidents also because of that, because I was still feeling I'm going in good speed, I'm very comfortable. I thought, okay, I've been driving this motorcycle for 1 year now, I'm very conscious, I know how to drive this. But suddenly when somebody comes in front of you without you noticing it, the connection is so strong. Suddenly if I have to take action, without me knowing, my both hands are trying to brake. Whereas I have to put the brake with my foot pedal, right? And have got into accidents at least 2-3 times because of that. So that is where the unlearning process comes through very strong in every phase of our life. This is just an example.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nivarti, do you believe that any journey that we undertake in life involve kind of self-discovery?
I think yes, any stage of your life, you will have to go through personal discovery. And if you are not doing that, you are only trying to change what you do than developing yourself as an individual. If you are trying to grow as an individual at every stage of life, even if you are trying to say you are now, you were a bachelor, now you are getting married, and from getting married to having children and them getting married, even if you take that life cycle itself, if you don't go through your maturity levels, which happens because of your personal discovery, you will struggle in life, right? So we all have to go through that maturity of life, which we call. And for that to happen, you have to go through discovering who you are and how you can make yourself better.
Yes, and this is the role of coaches, I think. I believe so.
Yes.
They can help individuals grow. And we are here talking about self-development. We are talking about self-growth. And this, of course, involved the effort of coaches, whether on a personal level or in organizational. Let me just ask you about your best tips, because you are talking in your book. You are talking to coaches, or you are talking to normal people. I want to know from you.
It's more specific to coaches, but even anybody can read the book and benefit from it. But it is more specifically written with an understanding of coaching competence in mind. But that does not mean leadership, people in leadership roles, or even people in executive roles, or regular people who are even students also. It applies to every walk of life, but it's more concentrated towards coaches.
Okay. So since we are talking about coaches, can you give us your best, maybe 3 tips or whatever number you choose today, your best tips for coaches, and what should they unlearn?
The first thing I would say in the top 3 would be to stop being judgmental. So that is the first element of coaches. We should not judge the level of conversations or the cognitive capability of the coachee, or even his characteristics or personality as well. We are there to support the coachee in his journey. We are there to judge that person in front of you. That is the first element I would say in the top 3. Number 2 is being solution minded. You go and talk to anybody, you try to tell them a problem. The first thing they would say is, okay, I faced a similar situation and this is what I did. Right? So you are not a coach if you are trying to suggest or even lead the coachee to a discussion, to a direction. You are there to help them discover their own ability and their own understanding of the situation and try to come up with what they think is the best solution. So the second topmost I would say is stop being solution minded. Don't start giving solutions to the coachee. And the third thing is stop fearing being judged. Don't feel that you have to be the best coach. Can you make your coachee as the best coachee and help him succeed, him or her? So you automatically become a best coach in the world. You don't become a best coach in the world by trying to be a best coach in the world.
So okay, I see. Yeah. So
those are the top.
Yeah. So I see that the coaches really need to have altruism from all what you are saying. For a person to work as a coach, he needs altruism. He needs to think about others more than be self-centered. So I would say that if I am a self-centered person, then coaching is not for me. Let's say it as simple.
I would say so. Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely
right. So I would like here to ask a question about coaching and coaches in general. For example, even on a personal level, if you want to choose a coach for a person on a personal level, if this coach is not leading his life successfully, will this affect his work with me? Shall I choose someone who is successful in his own life, in his decision making, in his problem solving, or it has nothing to do with his own personal life?
I don't think it matters whether the coach is successful in his life or not. The way we choose, at least I choose a coach, is can I trust the coach to be able to be with me, present to me, and help me to find my true self and understand my limiting beliefs, understand what is stopping me from realizing my full potential, or what is stopping me from finding solutions to my own problems, or even finding myself. So it's not about how successful the coach is. That is what everybody looks for. But I have seen the most successful coaches not being able to help the people, not everybody, right? So how the coaches have the limitation in the sense of whom they can coach. It's all about you trying to find who the best person would be to coach you. It doesn't matter whether that person is successful or not successful.
Really, yeah. So there is no indication. It's just you need to trust your coach and to trust the process then. So I have here one question. In the live you talked about in organization being dispensable. So Imam is asking to promote a successful culture in an organization. What do you mean by being dispensable?
Being dispensable is that's the ability for you to make or empower the team or the organization you are in to continue to be successful at the same, probably better, even without you being there. That is when you
as
are
a manager
dispensable.
or
That
as a
means
leader.
You are the person. Yes.
Okay.
That is when you are dispensable. That means you can move from your position at any point of time in the organization with zero impact to the organization.
Great. Nivarti, I really recommend your book for anybody who wants to unlearn. It involves many graphs, many illustrations, many figures, but unfortunately we couldn't present it today. But I think the book will be is it printed already? Is it there on Amazon or not yet?
No, not yet. It should be out in about 2 to 3 weeks on Amazon. And I would suggest anybody who is looking for this concept and trying to realize their full potential to be, looking for this book.
Yes, I recommend it too because I really found out it is an out-of-box idea. It is a very, if I might say, very interesting, very exciting idea. Through the years, we all have learned to learn, but now we need to unlearn and we need to relearn. So I would recommend your book to anybody who is interested in this topic and in the topic of coaching, and to unleash and find out the secret of a more engaging coaching in general. And congratulations in advance for the launch of your book. And would you please give us, if you have a website or any social media connection we can give to the audience so they can start to look for more information on this topic?
On this topic, I have my own personal website. People can reach there. I have written some articles on LinkedIn as well, on Unlearning also. So that's how I started. I have my own YouTube channel. People can look there. There are some talks on unlearning as well, where I started with conceptualizing this idea. So they can look at those and actually understand what could be part of this book and how it can help them. So there is my YouTube channel, Nivarti Jairam. You can search for it. I have my LinkedIn network, so you can also search on LinkedIn. I have my own website, www.nivartijairam.com. So I'm available on all channels, of course, on social media, whether it is Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. So I can always be reached if they have any questions.
Thank you very much, Nivarati. It was really a pleasure connecting with you today. And I'm looking forward for your book very soon. You said in a kind of 3 weeks, it will be available also on Amazon.com. And I would like to highlight and to draw the attention of the audience that next Thursday live will be the last Thursday live in the Intellectual Forum, the Happiness Club. I will just take a break for 1 month during August, and we'll be seeing you soon, maybe in season 3 of the Happiness Club. Thank you very much. Have a nice vacation, and thank you, Nivarti, and have a great day.
Thanks, Soda. Thank you, and you have a happy holidays. Enjoy your vacation.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye.